What a great day for the Memphis Tigers. Couldn't be more thrilled with the way this game went. Tough, hard-fought battle, 4 quarters, but ultimately found a way. I think it speaks volumes to the resiliency of the young men that continue to battle, continue to believe, and that love and play for each other. Our only goal was to go 1-0 this week. We played clean football, no turnovers, some things to get fixed, certainly, but so proud of the guys. Ultimately, our goal was to get better this week and find a way to win this football game. The guys continue to be all in with everything we want to do and couldn't be more proud.
Terry?
Coach, what was the difference between this team in the first half versus the second half? Like a totally different team in the second half.
I just wanted to add, make sure the fans stayed for all 4 quarters. They were doing their part. Speaking of that, the fans were phenomenal today. But I think what happened was it was kind of getting settled in. That tempo, we understand, it can catch you by surprise. There's only so much you can do at practice to prepare for that. We'd faced some tempo teams early in the season. Obviously, we knew they were an explosive offense. Defensively, they were first in the conference in takeaways and ultimately found a way to own the football. I think just settling down. They also played a defensive scheme that really was in the minority of what they do. They've run it about, I think, 16% of the time, the scheme that they showed up and almost lived in, and getting a chance to catch our breath. They blitzed us more than they've shown all season, but the guys settled and found a way in all 3 phases to play better in the second half.
Stay down to Landon.
South Florida had the 73-yard touchdown run to get them to 31. It ended up being their final time scoring in the entire game. Just with the defense after that play, what exactly flipped and what changed for the defense to lock down the way they did after that?
Obviously, that play is inexcusable, right? I'm getting tired of seeing explosive runs, ultimately missed tackles, missed fits, all of those things. But shame on us, but found a way. And that's all that matters when it came down to it, finding a way to get stops, to getting off the field, to forcing them to punt. They believed and they kept fighting. And, they take great coaching. The coaches did a nice job of adjusting. The players continue to find themselves in the right situation to ultimately make the plays, and that's ultimately what led to them getting off the field more often.
Frank?
44 pass attempts for Brendan Lewis for most of the season. Did you come into the game anticipating that he would throw that much, or just kind of what went into that?
Frank, first off, I think the resiliency of Brendan Lewis, you got to see that on display today. He battled through. He's in pain, but the young man said, "You're not keeping me from playing this football game." Going into certain games, you sit there and say, okay, we should be effective running the football here or there. When they displayed a different defensive front, I don't know if we were as prepared as we could have been in order to have success running the football. We were able to get some explosive plays here or there, but ultimately it led to us having to pass the football in order to come back into the game. And by the time they were blitzing us, whether they're run-stopping blitzes or pass protection blitzes, they were having success. We had to clean some of that. And then B. Lou trusting his reads and trusting his keys ultimately led to him having 44 pass attempts.
Over here to Leon.
Yes, Coach, you had a heartbreaker last week against UAB, and today you come out and get a big victory. What do you say to the fans now?
Well, first off, thank you to our fans for showing up and being loud and proud. Really it started back, Leon, at the radio show on Monday night. And we had a packed house, and I thanked them, to our true fans that showed up, and I said, listen, guys, I appreciate that. And they were standing and clapping, and not just for me, because they believe in the Tigers. And those are the fans that show up regardless. And we hit some adversity last week, and that's part of it. And like I told the people, hey, we're going to continue to learn and improve from this. I promise you the Tigers are going to bounce back and find a way. You could have made excuses about last week. We had ways to finish the game. Ultimately, we found ways to finish this game. So to our fans, thank you for believing in us. Thank you for continuing to push and strive for greatness. But this today was a game that directly represents our city, right? Had some adversity, the resiliency to bounce back and be tough and continue to believe. It could have been easy for fans to come out and boo us coming out of the second half, but they were there and they stayed through the whole game, and ultimately we were able to deliver a win. So it was a great win for the city of Memphis. Thank you to our fans. We're going to have to find a way to win a tough one on the road in a short week. But I hope when we come back home we get to see plenty of you guys in the stands.
Over to Devin.
Coach, this is the second time at home. Arkansas, you're down double digits. A resilient team come back and win the game. Today you do the same thing. What does it say about your team and you as a coach that your team, when they get down, they can get off the mat?
Well, Devin, it's all about the players. It has nothing to do with me, just other than telling them, hey, we've got to believe and we've got to fight. And look, I've always had a chip on my shoulder I love our players. They love playing for each other. And I think that's what you see. You see the grittiness from this group. And, that's what makes you proud. I mentioned this a few minutes ago to them. Like, I'm glad we won a football game. That's great. We're 1-0, and we're 7-1, and we won a conference game on national television in front of a great crowd. But ultimately, when I lay my head down tonight, I'm so proud of the way they play the game, the way they believe, the way they fight. And to me, that's the best thing I can feel.
Jonah.
The way that Cortez is just the go-to guy who can make that kind of play, it feels like every time you guys need it. Is that what you envisioned with him when he first came here, and how is this kind of growing throughout the season?
Jonah, you guys all asked, hey, who's the go-to wide receiver this year? And I kept telling you, I don't know, right? And then, Cortez didn't even start, I think, our first 3 football games. But he's a playmaker, and playmakers had to come out and make plays tonight. That was one of our keys to victory as an offense. This morning we were talking to them. The guys got to step up. Obviously, there's a relationship with B. Lou, which is huge. But the young man practices really hard. And he does things the right way, and really proud the way Cortez has bought in to this culture in a short period. I always say this, sometimes it may take a couple years for guys to understand how we do things, to be all in. Here's a guy that got here 10 days before the first game. That the one thing I wanted to care about more than anything was him buying into our culture. And he bought into that and understanding how to work. And then, oh, by the way, he's a really talented wide receiver. So we'll continue to find ways to get him the football. And obviously he's making a lot of plays for the Memphis Tigers.
Back over to Frank.
One, what was going through your head in those final seconds of the field goal? And then 2, can you walk us through the decision making to go for 2 on that?
Yeah, great question. That first one's probably not safe for media for me to say what was going through my head. A lot of random things that go through this mind. Look, like as always, I'm telling the offense, hey, be prepared for overtime. All right, let's talk about the situational football. If you guys see me during the game, I try not to get too high or too low because you may be playing for 60 minutes or a few minutes more. And that's we were fortunate. The young man missed the kick. Our defense did a great job of finding a way to get a little bit of pressure on that kick and couldn't be more pleased. But when he missed, it was just jubilation and so proud of the guys. And with the 2-point conversion stuff towards the end of the game. Okay, so you guys know me. I love studying football. I love studying analytics. Okay, we talked about this before. Like, hey, Ryan, how often do you rely on the chart or the book? And how often do you just say, hey, what's your gut feeling tell you? Well, at the time, we weren't doing a great job of stopping them. And so I said, listen, we're going to score. We're going to go for 2. Okay, if we get it, the next time we score, we're going to win this football game by 1 point. And I told the team that, and I told them this morning that we were going to be aggressive. It's also the same deal. About a 52% chance to get both, to get a 2-point conversion in your tries. So ultimately, if we missed it the first time, we're going to go for 2 again like we did and get it so it ended up being, almost in essence a 14-point deal. It's the way I believe. I know, there's quite a few coaches that believe that way. Last week, I thought we'd have the opportunity to get off the field when we needed to. Sean McVay, a lot of guys throughout college football are also doing it, and I thought it gave us the best opportunity when it was all said and done.
Back over to Jonah.
With Brendan, just what was the past couple of days like, the whole week, like trying to get him ready, and then how much did that affect game planning?
Yeah, first off, he's such a mentally tough young man, right? Like, it's easy to talk about how physically tough we are, but he is a mentally tough dude. And so, with the injury, he came back and we were game planning, watching film. He sat there and said, you know what? I'm going to figure out a way to play this game. He lived in the building. Every single day he was getting treatment. He was in the training room finding a way. We had to have a plan, though. Okay, what was our plan if it was A.J. Hill at quarterback? What was our plan if it was Arrington Maiden at quarterback? And ultimately, B. Lou was healthy and ready to go. We'd never put a player in a situation where we don't feel like he can protect himself. Obviously, he went out there and had a heck of a football game.
Devin.
Coach, years ago you did SEC team and then you dropped 3 or 4. This year you look ahead, you beat the SEC team, but then you lose a game you should win. This time you bounce back and get the win. I want to know what's different about you, Ryan Silverfield, as a head coach, when you look ahead 5 years from then to now.
I think just, if I haven't grown and learned as a coach, then shame on me. I think every day I'm trying to continue to improve myself in everything I do, right? As a head coach, as a husband, as a father, like every day I'm trying to be the best version of myself. And I'm going to continue to learn. I hope next week I'm better than I was today as a head coach. And ultimately those things I'm continuing to try to learn and strive to be better. The buy-in. Look, the teams of the past have always bought in. They really have. And has it always been perfect? No. 78 new players. I kind of laugh when people are like, well, that team's got to rebuild, that team's got to rebuild. But you got your coordinators back, and we have the largest rebuild in college football going on right here. But there are a bunch of dudes that love football that are truly all in, and that to me means everything. So for me, just continue to pour into them, find ways to figure this out. I'm still finding out about some of our players. There's guys that played today that I didn't know how they would respond. Also, how would they respond to adversity, right, with that loss? How would they come and bounce back being down at halftime? And so I'm still learning about so much of our guys. But ultimately, for me, I wake up every morning and try to pour every single thing ounce of me into this program.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Good.